There we are. Good evening. Sorry to wake you up there, Raph. I could see you suddenly jumped. Oh, dear.
Call me by surprise.
Yeah, sorry about that. Hello, good evening, and welcome to another action-packed, well, maybe not quite tonight, episode of Rokk Around the Clock. Now, unfortunately, Duncan is going to be with us. That's not what's unfortunate. The unfortunate thing is he's not with us yet, but he's having some technical difficulties, as is the way of things with live shows. He'll be with us shortly. I've got a cough, so if I'm pressing that mute button a lot, you'll have to apologise. I'll have to apologise. I apologise up front. But anyway, Raph, great to see you again, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back. Sorry I've been distant for a while, but I'm here
Life
today.
gets in the way. It's my motto. Life gets in the way, mate. It's the way it goes. Well, it's great to see you. How have you been keeping?
Yeah, not too bad. Just busy with work, trying to keep up with everything that's going on social media, trying to keep speaking to people whilst I'm doing bits in between. So, yeah.
The family.
How about you?
Yeah, mate. Good. Lots going on in my world at the moment, but it's all good now. Look who's just arrived all the way from sunny Northern Ireland. Here he is, young Duncan. Good evening to you, sir.
I'm hoping you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I was going to play a joke on him, Raph. You're too honest, mate.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. We can hear you loud and clear, my friend. How are you?
I am awesome. Oh, I am awesome. If you can hear me now, yes.
Yes, you are. You are awesome. Full stop.
Yes, my mic is deciding to act up a bit, but I told you I was having some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
So there we go.
It's virtually brand new, though, Duncan, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I'm going to have a proper look at it.
I think it's time to pull in the W word, mate. Warranty. Get a new one. That's what I always say. How's your week been, my friend?
It has been dead on. What about you?
Yeah, we were just about to cover me, actually. I've not had a bad old week. I've had in and outs and all over the places. But warming up now with my jumpers on. I've got my big. I love this time of year, putting on jumpers and cozy blankets and stuff, and cuddling up by the fire with myself, because nobody ever wants to cuddle up with me, all that stuff. Wonderful times. Anyway, it's been literally 7 days since the last Rokk Around the Clock, which means we've got a week of news to review. So should we get started, folks? Should we get straight in? No. Before we do that, of course, it is customary and very rude of me not to say hello to chat. So hello, chat, and thank you for joining. And sorry I didn't say hello. We've got Cloud Gamer 201. We've got a full-on Cloudy with a Chance of Games team in tonight. We've got Cloud Gaming Man. We've got Cloud Gamer 201. Of course, we've got Duncan. I think, Raph, you're even in there on the roster, aren't you? You're sort of like a token member of the team.
Yes.
They kind of pull you in when they desperately need VIP. They pull you in.
Do you know what it is? It's when I see something that Duncan hasn't covered, I quickly just try and get it in. Because this guy works non-stop, like 24/7.
Pick up the bat phone and say, "Why haven't you covered this cloud item?" And he does need a bat phone. So that's all good. It's all good. So anyway, chat. Oh look, there's Andy Morphs as well. There's your old partner in crime. He wants to know if we can have a special show at Christmas called Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. Damn, that's a good idea, Andy. Let me just, I'll just make a little note. Let me just make a little note of this. Andy wants to rock around my Christmas tree. Right, mate. We'll have that one, Christmas, and you can be on it as long as you promise to wear a big old kind of, fluffy beard. Because then it will look very good indeed. So we'll do that. Right, let's start at the beginning, which of course, if I just pop this in, was last Wednesday. So what we had was, according to Cloudy with a Chance of Games, SpongeBob, Far Cry New Dawn, and Saints Row, the third, full package. Rated for Stadia. So 3 games that have been rated for Stadia on Peggy. Like always, we have no idea, when those are likely to arrive, but it's a fairly good indication that they are. What are your thoughts on those, Dunk?
Yep, it's great to see them turning up eventually. They're doing the hokey cookie, they're in, out, shake it all about. So it's good to actually see them showing up again because we are waiting for a load more games to come on. So it shouldn't be that much longer until we get a load more coming. Because we are a bit, yes, we know we've got a load of these Ubisoft games coming, but we are running low on like week games coming on a weekly sort of basis here. So hopefully this will start kicking that off.
Because we were told, weren't we, a little while ago, that they had sort of about 120 games lined up for this year, obviously up to December 31. We're up to about 90 something. Am I right in saying?
It's in and around there, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think, Raph, do you think they're going to make that number, or do you think that's kind of a bit of a pre-COVID wish list?
I feel like it's still possible for them to make this sort of that number. Like, I think a lot of these games here were, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure some of these games had been rated before, but then taken off. Mm-hmm. So it kind of just makes you wonder if they actually do have quite a few stockpiled, ready to sort of release all at once. Like, there could have been things that we missed. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. So you're thinking that we'll suddenly see a flurry of PEGI clearances, and then we'll get what are we talking about, 120. So, I mean, we're talking about 30 titles they've got to come up with between now and the end of December to hit that 120, haven't they? Well, we know for sure a bunch of titles, don't we? We know Cyberpunk's coming. We obviously know there's a few Ubisoft titles coming. Mm-hmm. Duncan, is it possible they'll make that up with Uplay Plus?
Yeah, we are definitely getting Uplay Plus, so they are going to have to push out some more Ubisoft titles. And there we've got Far Cry New Dawn there. We also know that Far Cry 5 is also rated for PEGI a number of months ago or weeks ago alongside these games. So I think we've got them two coming. Again, it's just going to be expanding and we're going to touch on the more Ubisoft stuff shortly as well. We can talk into that.
So Far Cry New Dawn was kind of between 5 and the forthcoming 6. It was sort of a...
Yeah, it's a sort of... it's not a full, massive 20, 30, 40 hours sort of game. It's like a substantial game. It's like an add-on sort of thing. It's
like a big DLC, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a game I know you've talked about, Far Cry Primal, where that was basically using the same map as another Far Cry 4, but just putting in the new setting. That's basically what this new Dawn was. It's just an expansion sort of game, and they've not just chucked it out there with no thought. A lot of people actually like this game, so I'm
I enjoyed it. I completed it. But you're right, it's in the same world as Far Cry 5, which was that kind of apocalyptic future America. And it was a sort of a side story to all of that stuff. But yeah, no, I quite enjoyed it, actually. And I thought it was okay. Saints Row, I don't know a huge amount about Saints Row. They're kind of similar to Infamous and those sorts of superhero games, anti-superhero games, aren't they?
It's fun.
Go on, Raph.
I was going to say...
I should have asked you anyway, sorry.
Saints Row is, I would say, an acquired taste because 1 and 2 followed a similar sort of pattern. Sorry, engines outside. 1 and 2 followed a similar pattern to Grand Theft Auto, and then number 3 kind of is where it started to get a bit weird or weirder, where you kind of started to see strange things happening. And then 4, I believe, which is my favorite, is the one where they kind of went into the Matrix,
right?
And then they start getting superpowers and all this sort of stuff. And then, yeah, it is an acquired taste. Like, it's one of my favorite sort of franchises, but you do get a lot of arguments in those sort of communities of which is the better one and which one kind of derailed it and stuff like that.
So there is a newer one than the third then. So we won't actually be getting the latest version of Saints Row.
No.
Well, there's another one after that as well.
Oh, right. Okay.
Rokk, this will be your test if you're going to like seeing through the third or not. One of the weapons is called the Penetrator.
Oh, I've seen it, mate. It's big, it's purple, and 14-year-old boys find it hilarious. That's what we're kind of talking about here, isn't it?
Yes. So it's right up your alley then.
Well, it's up something, yeah. I don't know about my
Come
alley.
to think of it, it was a bit of a spoof. Sorry, right up whose alley? Not mine. Yeah, it's almost kind of like a spoof of Grand Theft Auto.
Right, okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's a low humor or a humorous Grand Theft Auto where they just take the absolute mick out from it.
Grand Theft Auto isn't humorous? What have I been playing then?
But you know what I mean? It's a full on sort of take the
It takes
absolute
it completely in a different
Yeah.
level. Yeah, fair
The
point.
storylines, oh my gosh, yeah.
I'd love to put people's comments up, but every time I do, it covers Paul Raff's face, which I think is despicable. So I'm not doing it. Excuse me. So we've got those to look forward to. I know absolutely nothing at all about SpongeBob. There was a previous SpongeBob with an even more hilarious title to the name, wasn't there? I forget what it was now. I mean, again, 12-year-olds found it humorous. But that one, I mean, Duncan, you actually thought that was likely to drop now, didn't you? I mean, you actually thought it was sort of pro-game territory.
Yeah, but I thought that and the other game, which is just slipped my Destroy All Humans, were
Yes.
I think they could be pro game fodder, so we might get them at the end of the month because they're not 100% massive games, but they're not low end indie sort of game.
Yeah.
So
we don't know. We have no details on pricing or when they're coming, do we? So this is all that we know is that they've been cleared, which means that they will probably come at some point, but when and for how much, this moment in time we have no idea. Yeah. Right, good. Okay. Well, we now move across.
Can I just say one more thing about that?
Of course you can.
Sorry.
Of course you can.
Like, so a lot of these games are taking about, like, when you used to see these sort of things, about 30 to 40 days to then drop, like actually come out on, say, like, roughly. That's just an estimate of the longest it's probably taken. But like in a month and a half from now, it's going to be, which I call the founders' anniversary, not like the official.
Yeah, good shout.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, I call it the founders' anniversary.
Yeah.
And like, do you think possibly some of these games could be piling up to drop around then, or appearing now to drop then?
That's a really good point. As we get closer to that period, Raph, I'm even wondering whether they won't do anything particularly special around that date.
Yeah.
The only reason I say that is there's so much going on around the 19th. I mean, we get the PS5 for a start, so they're going to steal some of the oxygen in that room, aren't they?
That was so rude. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, what are they playing at?
All the days.
Cyberpunk is launching on the 19th. I mean, how bad would it look if it didn't launch on the Founders' Day for Stadia? So, not to suggest it won't. Of course, again, we don't know. All we know is it's coming at some point this year. So, I as time moves on, I actually am not 100% sure that they're going to do anything to coincide with that specific date. Of course, there's lots in November anyway. We've got Thanksgiving, we've got Black Friday, we've got the likes of Valhalla on the 10th that's going live. We know that's a day-and-date Stadia title. On the 29th of October, we've got Watch Dogs Legions. So there's a load going on in and around all of those dates anyway. And my suspicion is we'll probably have, and Duncan and I, funny enough, were talking about this earlier, and it is pure speculation. We were trying to think when would be a good time to have a Connect or to drop Uplay Plus, given those dates. Because they're not going to want to do it on the same day that, for example, they go live with Watch Dogs Legion, or probably Valhalla, because, they want to promote those two things. So my guess is potentially we could see it around the 3rd of November, which is the Tuesday before the 10th, which is when Valhalla goes live. What are your thoughts on that, Raph?
Uplay Plus always not confuses me, but it it's one of those things where if Uplay Plus does drop whenever it drops, is there, not in a horrible way, but is there a point of it dropping until we have more than what? I don't even know how many Ubisoft games we have. Do we have 10 Ubisoft games on there?
I can guarantee you that it will be more than we've currently got in the store.
So are you saying that when it drops, it will drop with most of its library and not just the ones that we have now?
No, I would be amazed if it was most of their library.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I do think it will be a lot more. There'll be more games. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Than we've got in the store right now.
So are you thinking that they're not going to drop? They're not dropping the rest of those games right now because they know it's silly to drop it. Okay, I get you guys.
A classic is, and I know Duncan's itching to get in, so I'll be very
sorry,
quick.
Duncan.
No. A classic is that we know that Watch Dogs Ultimate Edition, which I think is Watch Dogs 1 Remastered, has been given a date for launch across platforms, and all we've seen is for Stadia. It's coming later in the year. My guess is that is because it will be part of Uplay Plus, and they don't want to put a specific date. If they put a specific date on it, then they've virtually told us when they're launching Uplay Plus. So, I think it's a safe bet to assume that will be one of those games, for example. So that's at least one more than we've currently got in the store. Go on, Duncan, take it away.
I'm just with this Watch Dogs. Me and you had a wee discussion about this, and we both turned out to both be right, which is brilliant for a change. With this Watch Dogs thing, there was a big asterisk on it on selected platforms. It's going to be coming day and date when thing, and I thought that's 100% Stadia is that, and you said 100% it was coming, so we were both.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, Raph, I think it's a safe bet to assume we'll see at least maybe another 10 on top of that. But of course, it could be a heck of a lot more. Like Duncan said earlier, they've been working. Don't forget, when they did the first beta of Stadia, when it wasn't called Stadia, I forgot what it's called now. Was it Project Stream or something? When they did that, they did it with Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So, and they would have had to have ported that months before they actually did the beta, because they would have done internal testing and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So we're talking 18 months to 2 years ago, if you take that timeline. So they've had 18 months to 2 years to port a considerable amount of their games in collaboration with Stadia. They wouldn't necessarily have done them all solo. So, you just mentioned there's maybe 10 titles in the store. I'd feel comfortable in saying there'll be at least another 15 coming as part of a Uplay Plus rollout.
Okay.
Yeah, I would be hesitant to say a lot of games coming. I do not think it is going to be everybody's a lot is different. I think we're going to get a couple more games. We're going to get a couple of the Far Cry's. I would say we're going to get a couple of the Assassin's Creeds as well. But I would be hesitant to put a number on it. What I would say is, if I was a betting man, it is going to be a lot less what's going to be on the Luna channel, the Ubisoft channel on Luna. Even though that's Uplay Plus and all but name, it's a Ubisoft channel. I would say it's going to be a lot less. So I would expectations in check here. And just remember, Uplay does have over 100 games on the service, but a lot of the games you need a mouse and keyboard, and to get onto Stadia you have to have controller support. So yes. Expectations need to be measured in regards to Uplay Plus.
Yeah, they've had plenty of time to port more than the games that are currently there. I would be absolutely gobsmacked if they brought anything like, if they use the term Uplay Plus, they will have it compared to its current state, which is about 100 and something games. Now, they could, if they weren't going to port more than there currently exist, I think they're in for a massive hiding to then call it the same thing. So, they would have had to have called it, Uplay for Stadia or something. I mean, it would have had to have been a different brand in my estimation. So I would be absolutely amazed if they didn't launch with maybe twice the titles that we currently are aware of. But Duncan's right. They're going to be the more recent ones. They're not going to dig back deep. A lot of them in current Uplay Plus for PC are really old games that, most people didn't even realize that Ubisoft developed, in fairness.
Okay.
Right. Okay. I think we've double dipped on that one. We should crack on. So we're now going to switch across to Stadia Source because we actually have some interesting stories, as always, on Stadia Source. There's absolutely, I don't want to make it sound as if they don't have interesting stories. They just happen to have interesting stories from last week. There's a couple of these that we'll come on to in a second. So, for example, there was a story about cross-save, enabling cross-save for Baldur's Gate 3. But I think it's probably just important to cover the fact that Baldur's Gate 3 arrived, which we'll do in a second. There was a big update for Windbound, which, a load of fixes, as you'd expect. Some stuff that was very specific to Stadia, which is good to see. Some things that Duncan and I covered this off a little bit on. Can't read that very well, can you? It's my fault for choosing that color scheme when I logged in. But basically, they fixed a few issues. They updated some stuff on Stadia that Duncan and I didn't even know was an issue. We thought it was part of the game. So it's quite nice. It's quite nice to know that that stuff's happening anyway. So have you played Windbound at all, Raph? I seem to remember you were quite keen on it.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed it when I was playing it. Mm-hmm. I want that big update to come. The one with the I think it's Story Plus or whatever it's Story Plus. So once you've completed the game, you can then continue playing that game. You can start the game again with the stuff that you have.
So you can't do that currently. That's something they've said is coming.
Yeah, they've deployed it to PC already, PlayStation already, and it's still to come to the Switch, Stadia, and Xbox.
Have they given an indication when that's likely to happen?
No.
Duncan, do you know much about Windbound?
No, I'm not sure when you're going to be doing any of that sort of carry on, but just there is the meme that Stadia has no games, but at this moment in time, we seem to be moving on the games every so quickly now. This was the big game at the end of August, and it's nearly been forgotten about because we've moved on to all the other games now. So it's really it's hard to keep up with everything now.
Yeah, that is a good shout, Duncan. If you think we've only got to go back a few months, and the two big hammers that everybody slammed us on all the time were lack of games and latency. Well, latency was never an issue, and quite frankly, even 90 plus games we know the addition of several more. I mean, I think there's at least another 20 games coming between now and Christmas anyway, irrespective of Uplay Plus. That kind of kills that off as well, doesn't it? We're at a point now where people are, when I say people, those that kind of still bash Stadia in certain quarters of the media because it's good clickbait material. Let's be completely honest here. Half the time they know there's no justification, but it gets people riled and it gets people reading. So yeah, I do. I look forward to a time in the not too distant future when all of that stuff's just put to bed in a distant memory. But it's well worth. I mean, that's a good point, Duncan. It was a massive, it was a massive arrival not that long ago, and here they are rolling out 6 weeks after launch, 10 weeks after launch, a huge update with, as Raph just pointed out, some great stuff to look forward to. So that's all good. That was good. So that was a Windbound story. Let's go back down a bit here. So then we're also getting really close. I kind of feel it in my bones now to Outcasters coming. Probably the best social media on in Stadia. These guys, I have to say, it's an absolute mic drop. They are almost on a par with my favorite, which is the guy that does all the updates for the Argos app on iPhone. If you haven't got the Argos app, I implore you to download it just to read that guy's updates. They are comedy gold. They should be winning awards. But these guys are on with it as well. Have you got it in your bones as well, guys? Do you think this is just around the corner now?
I think it's more of a founders anniversary sort of drop sort of thing, but not on that day. I kind of agree with what you were saying earlier. Like it's a day where anything that the Stadia does or anybody else does is going to get overshadowed by the event that's taking place that day. So I don't know. I think they threw a spanner into the works, and I'm not too sure when it's going to drop, but I reckon the original was probably the founder's anniversary.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Duncan, what do you think?
I think it is. If I'm a betting man, which I'm not, I'm going to bet it is a pro game at the end of the month.
So do you think November 1 or a late October pro game?
If we get a Connect this month, which I'm hoping we do, because I think we would need one in the next couple of weeks, I think it's going to drop during the Connect. If it doesn't drop during the Connect, I think it's going to drop in 1st of November. I think it's basically there, ready to go, touch wood, and I think everybody's going to look forward to it.
Yeah, I agree. Raph, were you going to say something then? No, it was me then. Maybe it was your cat. I saw him come and go. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Duncan. I can't see any reason why they would drop it before. You and I have talked in the past about how Stadia exclusives are almost certainly going to be pro games. And this would be one of those. Folks, just so you know, Raph literally lives inside of an ambulance. So you will get that noise from time to time. It's actually when the cat arrives. There you go. Let you see. It's got its own fanfare. Look at that. Amazing. Hey, cat. What's the cat called, Raph?
It's called Maui.
Oh.
She is called Maui. Yes.
Is Maui, is that the name of that Disney?
Yeah, from Moana.
Aha. There you go. You see, my kids love that film. And it's a beautiful cat. She's a beautiful cat. Tortoiseshell, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Indeed. I know my cats. If it was an hour later, I could have gone somewhere else with that, but we won't do it just now. Right. So that's coming up shortly, and we're all in agreement. Now, I didn't realise this had completely passed me by. Thunderful have acquired CodeSync, and CodeSync, of course, famous for Get Packed, and I think Cake Bash as well. Is that one of theirs that's coming up shortly?
That is one of those.
On the 15th of October, if I'm not mistaken, which is merely days away now.
Next week.
Next week, indeed. And Thunderful, who, well, Raph, tell me who they are, because you were filling me in earlier.
Oh, Thunderful are the people that dropped Jotun and Sundred.
So I didn't know this. So yeah. This is amazing. So it's literally two big independent developers that are very central to Stadia. I mean, those have been big games, big pro games for Stadia in the past. I have this lovely feeling, Raph, that that they met each other over the Stadia boardroom table and stared lovingly into each other's eyes. Sparks went off, fireworks went off. It was love at first sight, and here we are 7 months later. They're looking to get together, and who knows what their offspring will look like in the months to come. Combination of Thunderful and CodeSync. CodeSync actually are based down the road from me, by the way, down in Falmouth in Cornwall.
Do you know what? I think I got that wrong. It's not. That's not
what?
them.
Raph, yeah, I'm paying you big money here, man.
SteamWorld, they're the SteamWorld game.
SteamWorld. There you go. Well, the point remains. I mean, still, the same points remain. They, SteamWorld, big pro game series on Stadia, so they could still very much have met over that table. Be looking at Steam cakes or get packed in a box of Steam or something in months to come.
Yeah, and just to add into this, I know we're talking about where can this go. Someone is buying me an Oculus Quest 2, who shall name nameless.
Oh, you lucky boy.
and they have been investigating some more of the games coming. And just to show you how big CoachSync is actually beginning to grow now, they're being trusted with the Jurassic Park franchise because they're making a Jurassic Park game for Oculus. So they are definitely on the rise there.
And that's no cheap franchise either, is it? Because you're talking Spielberg.
Universal.
Amblin in Universal, yeah. So, I mean, you're talking a significant franchise there, which whether they purchased that or whether they were hired to build the game on behalf of is no insignificant trust. You're absolutely right, Duncan. And to be fair, I think everything they've done that I've seen so far has been absolutely amazing. I mean, Get Pack's a great game. Cake Bash looks stunning. I can't wait for Gateau Royale. That for me is my favourite pun of the year. I would buy the game purely for Gateau Royale. That's going to be something else. So we look forward to that.
This sounds bad for a lot of these games coming to Stadia, like Cake Bash and Outcasters. My only thing I want more from them is just the multiplayer numbers to be a way up.
Yes, I'd agree with that. Because we're talking 8 on Cake Bash? 4. 4? Who does a battle royale with 4 people? I'm not buying it now. That's it. Oh, well, I love the look of it.
Yeah,
no, I agree with you. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm hoping with all the going forward, all these cloud platforms, we're going to start pushing the multiplayer options up. I think what we've seen there on Friday there with even silly games, which you would never think battle royales and big multiplayer numbers would work, like Humans Fall Flat. Was it 16 people in that? Was just absolutely nuts.
Oh, that's so funny. Such a fun game.
Is that a Stadia only thing? The 16 players. I thought
it is. It is. It's 8 normally everywhere else, and purely for Stadia, they've doubled it. And it's. Have you played it yet, Raph?
I played it on Xbox.
Yes, because it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
We did 16 man on Rockstars at Night on Friday. I haven't had such a laugh in such a long time. It was just bonkers, totally bonkers, to use Duncan's phrase. Totally fun as anything. Right, I've pulled this up because this was big. This was literally 2 days ago, and set the old Stadia community on fire. So Stadia essentially released what is a 2.5 minute advert, which I think it's on YouTube and probably going to be embedded in websites and things. And it is essentially a start to finish. This is what Stadia is all about. Get to know Stadia. And it is, I have to say, a lot of people saying, where was this a year ago or 9 months? Because it really does tick all the boxes. Raph, you've probably seen this a million times by now.
I've seen it once, but do you know what the thing is? Once is enough, because it literally just tells you what everything is. I don't say I don't think I'm not defending them, but I don't think they could have made this a year ago, and I'm only going to say that because I don't think they realized that people would just not get it. They would not understand. Like a lot of these, you've listened to some of the questions. It's literally things that you see on Twitter, or people going, "You can't do this. You have to subscribe to get games." But it's not very clear unless you go out there yourself and physically read up on it. Yeah. So them asking the question and then explaining it, I think is brilliant. But they couldn't have made this a year ago. They've had to watch and grow, which is why, I was going to say something, but I'm going to just hold back on that.
That's a really good point, Raph. What's interesting to me, though, is that the style and the look of this echoes some pieces that they did do back at the start. I've used them in various videos, this kind of very clever use of everything's pure white. So they've essentially taken all the branding away from TVs and mobile phones and tablets and so on, and just so that it's just the shape of a generic device, and they have used that before, and they've done this in bits, but I think this is the first time they've brought it all together with actually a decent, meaningful story. But it's a very good point that you make. You're basically saying that this is the culmination of lessons learned since launch.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And the way it is as well, this looks more Google. It's like this is the most Google advert I've seen them do for Stadia, in the sense of everything is just pure. It's straight to the point. Everything that you need to see is, like, as you said, the screens are a darker shade of grey compared to everything else, so you know what you're supposed to be concentrating on. It's just one of those things, though. But it's just like, they couldn't have created this a year ago. They needed to hear all this thing, but it was almost like it was I don't want to say beta, but it's like this year was just a year of learning what they need to do and how they can improve.
Perfect. Duncan, something leaped out at me there. This is pure Google.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant ad. Or no, I'm actually going to take it back. I don't think it's a brilliant ad. I think it's a very, very good ad. There's a couple of things in here I don't like, which has just been highlighted. Sabrina Gate, which we don't want to go down there again.
We might do.
We might do. We might do. Okay, but it's highlighting the Chromecaster again, which I don't think we really should be. But what I can say over the last couple of weeks, which has been involved in this as well, it looks like some people in Stadia have been allowed to come off the leash. They're allowed to go out there and comment on people's posts. I was unmuted for one day. I got actually a comment. I was unmuted.
How did you know that you were muted again? Because I saw.
And then they were like, "Enough."
Yeah. And it was
Who
actually being
unmuted
nice.
him? Who unmuted him?
And now I'm back muted because I actually put some legitimate questions, and I haven't heard a dicky bird since.
Right, okay.
But I think their social media game has increased along with this going out there. We've seen a bit what we've been calling for since Stadia launched, a bit more interactivity and actually behave like a game company rather than just Google. The cheeky wee tweets they've been doing, like the one yesterday with Ray, and the no download thing. This is the things we have been telling them to do for months, and it's like, hallelujah, they're actually listening to us. But
it's almost like they've watched out the Outcasters crew, isn't it, and said, actually, they've got it sorted. Those guys, could we have a day's workshop with you?
Yeah, I just think it is very. The timing is very coincidental. I think Luna has launched 2 weeks ago, and since Luna has launched, there has been a change in their social media output.
Of course, it hasn't launched yet. Let's be completely honest. It was announced 2 weeks ago.
Or announced, yes.
Yeah, you can't actually
formally
play it yet, but
yeah. Wrong terminology, yes. But as soon as Luna has been announced and we know it's coming soon now, there has been a complete change. I think they know their timing, their time in the sun is now up, and now they actually have to come out and start swinging a bit.
So there were 2 big events, weren't there? Really, that we could make an assumption that this may have been a response to, although I would. And they are Luna and the fact of Chromecast Google TV with Google TV, which I think is its official name. I would counter that by saying I think a lot of this material takes a little bit of time to put together, more than the time that it would be if it was a knee-jerk response to that. So, it could well be that's just unfortunate for Stadia that it looks that way. Although the Chromecast with Google TV, they would certainly have been aware a while ago, was not going to coincide or launch with Stadia. And as you rightly said, it does show a Chromecast Ultra, which is being replaced by Chromecast with Google TV, and therefore you won't be able to buy it in its singular state. You'll be able to buy it as part of a Premier Pack for as long as those last. So, that may be something that they could have given some thought to.
Yeah, just I agree with you. This hasn't been just a 100% response to Luna. This would have been there, but I think they've been just waiting for the perfect timing for it to actually do it. And the Luna timing, I think it's been baking in the oven. I think they knew the Luna announcement was coming because I think everybody knows when there's a big announcement coming, they'll be talking. So they've had this ready for when it ready to go, basically.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that, Duncan. I was thinking that the other day, like they probably had all these things lined up, but they knew, as you said, that this Luna was on its way, and they needed to wait it out with all the backlash they're getting. Wait it out and use it when it's most important. So, completely agree with you on that.
Yeah, it's a good shout. What do you think the chances are this was actually prepared for a forthcoming Connect and they brought it forward?
That could be because by the word around the campfire a couple of months ago, Luna was meant to be coming next year. That was all the new music.
Yes.
So this may have been there for the Connect, but I think they just said we're going to cut it from the Connect and just chuck it out as an ad now, just as a counter. But I don't think it is. I don't think the timing of this coming out is a coincidence at all. It is a definite response to Luna.
Nonetheless, a beautiful piece of work. I think we're all in agreement. Not a moment too soon. Good timing if timing is coincidental either way. And let's hope we see more of it. Have we seen it out in the wild other than on Twitter? No,
I wouldn't know.
It's on YouTube channel. I know it's on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually seen them really promoting it anywhere as yet. But we probably would not be their target market.
Exactly right, Duncan. I'm always saying this to people. We are already in that ecosphere. We wouldn't necessarily be targeted. And Google's all about data. They know exactly where you live if you might be interested. Although they keep trying to sell me a chair, I noticed when I went to something just now, and I've already bought the darn thing. Look, it's right behind me.
But where would you where would they advertise it? Because if anybody out there is like me or has these things, I don't really watch live TV, or
No.
I'm always I'll pick what I want to watch. I'll either buy it or I'll watch it on Netflix or Apple TV. Where do ads fit into the world now? In that sense, do you have to be on YouTube to watch it? Do you have to be scrolling through on Facebook or something? Even
all
on
of
Facebook,
those could be Facebook, could be Instagram, could be LinkedIn. It could be a number of places. Could be an insert on a blog. It could be a link. My guess is, and typically these things tend to be multimedia campaigns, so you'll have some stills. They'll work on maybe some small GIF type stuff or some stills with a key call to action message, which would take you to the video embedded in a page, maybe a splash page. That has the video, that has a bit more information, that sort of lovely, scroll down single page with click here to try it for free type of thing. It won't typically be the video itself that'll be embedded wherever you go. It'll be little breadcrumbs that lead you to a page that has it within the page, and then off you go.
Can I ask you both a question? Is that right? Is that good?
No.
Is that time?
Yeah, we've never had relations. I resent that. Oh, sorry, different question.
In regards to what you said about it looking like a Connect video, do you think because of the backlash they got in the last Connect, a lot of the stuff that we're seeing now has just been spread out? Instead of a Connect, it's just been spread out and been given to us or released.
No, I think we are still getting Connect, and I think they were trying to wait for as long as possible, just to have. I think they're going to try and go big at this Connect, because I think for a lot of people, the next Connect is going to be a big selling point. Despite all the good news over the last week or two, we'll have to say Stadia. If you're just looking directly into the Stadia focus, Stadia has had a good couple of weeks. there is still disharmony out there in the community, and it's going to just come back to games. And I think they still need. I think they're going to try and go big at the Connect. I don't think we're going to be drip fed. I think we're just going to go, here is a Connect, and it's going to be a big one, because if not, I can see more. It's not walking away from the platform, because you can always come back because there's no hardware or anything like that. I think people will be looking at other platforms for the short term. That's what I'm seeing out there still. Despite the good weeks they've had, there's still a bit of mistrust. We've got the Cyberpunk, we've got FIFA, we've got Madden, with no release dates for them, and they are going to be the three big titles for the next couple of months. And we already know that Call of Duties and things like that aren't coming. So despite the good news, I think there's still work to be done.
I think what I'd say, Raph, is that the one confusion that there is in the community is that a Connect is addressed at us when they never have been. They've been addressed at people that they're trying to sell Stadia to. Mm-hmm. So, typically it will be that kind of an advert, and then backed up with, yes, you can play FIFA on it as well, and yes, you can play Cyberpunk on it as well, but not necessarily. And here's Uplay Plus, or here's a new YouTube feature that we said we were going to roll out. They've typically come as part of the community blogs and drip fed through Twitter and so on. So I think a Connect will largely depend how big they want to push Stadia over the holiday season, whether they want to do a big push. And my concern there that might not be the case is simply the fact that they've pulled the Chromecasts and it isn't on the Chromecast Google TV. Now, they could use it to exhaust Premiere stock and have something bigger coming up in the new year that'll be Stadia related as a pack. It could be a new controller. Who knows? They could do that. But I don't know whether they will want to use a lot of marketing over Christmas to push something if they're not 100% ready, and therefore may not go out with a Connect. Yeah.
Can I just pick up something in the chat there? It's about the Cyberpunk. People are suggesting Cyberpunk as a pro title. CD
I think that
Projekt
was tongue in cheek, wasn't it? Unless
there's a lot of people going there. CD Projekt Red completely came out and said that they are not going to be putting it on any sort of program. That's including what the talk was, Xbox Game Pass, and I think Xbox have the marketing rights, so I don't think it would be. I would be shocked, absolutely shocked, if it was.
It's going to be the biggest selling title this year and well into next year. The one thing they don't need to do is that kind of a deal. So absolutely not going to see that at all. It will be the same price everywhere. There won't be any major deals.
But could you imagine if they did?
I think it will be a mic drop. I think Stadia would be, there would be quite a few Stadians rummaging through the streets of Silicon Valley with a huge controller held high, disregarding all social distancing and mask wearing rules. Yeah, I mean, it's, it would be fantastic. It would be amazing.
Be crazy.
Ain't gonna happen. Any more than your cat sounds like an ambulance, mate, quite frankly. Okay, brilliant. So, sorry, is there anything else you guys want to say?
I was just going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a big pro game in the future coming straight onto the platform. It wouldn't surprise me if FIFA came as a pro game, or a Madden came as a pro game as soon as it came onto the platform, but not a Cyberpunk day and date sort of thing. No, I just do not see that happening.
I think the closest thing that we may get. No, we won't. I'm not even going to go there. No, forget it. I'm not saying it. I've had enough speculation.
No. Put your grapefruit. Put your grapefruit on the line.
All right. It might be a Ubisoft title to lead us into Uplay Plus, but let's not go there, because you know what, mate? We could sit here all day long speculating, and this is the problem. Stadia is one thing. It allows us to do creative thinking, and they always prove us wrong. So we also had a massive launch this week, early access, Baldur's Gate 3. A lot of people looking forward to this game. Have you picked it up at all, Raph?
I did, and I don't
Did
know
you?
why. Not in a horrible way.
Was it the hype train? I mean, you either
No,
wanted
I,
to or...
I want to play it. I just
Yeah.
don't have the time to play it. Like, I'm buying all these games and just not playing them.
Yeah, this
Do you
is
know what
the
I mean?
trouble.
Yeah.
But that is, let's be honest, that's one of the great things about Stadia, because you don't have to think to yourself, I'm buying this stuff, I haven't got anywhere to put it. I'm going to run out of disk space. You can literally put your money down and bank it, can't you? And you know that you can come back to it at any point in the future and pick it up. So I'm guessing on that basis, you've not even had a chance to fire it up.
No, I did watch Andy Morph's stream on it last night, which was really good. It's quite interesting to watch him kind of plow his way through a game.
How did Andy do? I did watch Eddie, and I watched Cloud Gamer. Oh crikey, I've forgotten his name. Please don't do that. Cloud Gamer 201 on Duncan's channel, and I have to say I was a bit baffled by it all. But how did Andy do? It's the kind of game that Andy would normally buy?
Well, when he was playing it last night, he looked like he was really interested and he wanted to learn a bit more. I kind of guided him a little bit because I've never played a game like that, but I'm kind of familiar with the whole
Concept.
turn-based taking games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was just curious. I was interested because you can actually play with the controller and move around the character rather than clicking to go places, which I thought was quite a cool addition to a turn-based RPG like that.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I actually will make a conscious effort to go and watch that, actually, Raph, because, well, one, it's Andy, and two, I'm trying to get my head around it, because everyone that I've watched play it so far hasn't played this kind of game before, and they've all said, yeah, I really do need to spend some time looking at this and maybe watching a few other people. So it'd be interesting that now that you've said you kind of worked in tandem with each other to see. Go on.
No, sorry, I was going to say if I'm going to recommend people, this isn't me just trying to stir things up or be a what's the word I'm looking for, a massive. Yes, there we go. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this was how far we're going. This isn't me trying to shit stir or anything. If you're going to watch someone play, definitely watch Andy when he's doing it. Watch it on Twitch. On Twitch, and you'll go, oh my god, crowd play is so far behind.
Sorry, one moment to show that.
Crowd play or crowd choice?
Crowd choice is so far behind. When you're watching on Twitch, you can actually click on the people's heads and you can see what stats they are. You can actually, it's cool. It's a bit nuts because you can actually go into their characters. You can actually see what armor and stuff they're wearing and stuff like that. You actually get a wider overall thing on what is actually happening in the game, and you still get the choices. And here we go, because I'm equal opportunities. It is actually easier to do the choices on YouTube than it is on Twitch. On Twitch, you have to put the 1, 2, 3, 4s into the chat. While, as we know with YouTube, some of them you can. Yes, when it comes up to this, you have to put it into chat, and that's the same. It's the same in both. But watch it on Twitch. It just shows you what the YouTube one is actually. It's actually how far behind it is.
So
is that sorry?
Go on, Raph.
I was just going to say, is it more to do with? Well, I can't say this about crowd choice in the sense, but is it more to do with the fact that YouTube might just need an upgrade itself?
Yeah, because they've got the Twitch. What's it? The Twitch extensions in it. So, do you see Andy's got a character here running about? If you're watching this on Twitch, on the left-hand side of it, there will be a picture of that character, and you can actually click into that picture of that character. It'll tell you how much health they've got, and when you actually go into and click into it a bit more, it tells you what gear they're wearing, so you can look what they're wearing: their head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Cool. That's very cool.
There's a song in there somewhere.
Very cool.
That's what I was going for.
Ladies, anything no, not that version. So.
Duncan, are you saying that on Twitch it knows where your knows where you as a viewer is with your mouse over the screen, and it tells you what the character detail is?
Yeah, basically, it pulls the information from the game, and when you're watching on Twitch, I sent you the link earlier, but I think you were busy. Where some of these guys were playing it, and all 4 or 5 characters are there, and when you actually click onto the character head, it tells you exactly what's going on with them. Because
That's mind blowing.
Yes, so I know we in the Stadia community are going absolutely wild about having crowd choice on YouTube here. This is the Cloud Wars, people. So it is.
I might say something. Sorry, go on.
Go on, Raph. You always trump me. You are an honoured guest.
I was just going to say I might say something that sounds a bit controversial here.
Oh yes, I'm rubbing it off on you.
Don't get him started, Raph.
But I know we have crowd choice now, but I don't really see people going on about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of these things like, we don't have this, we don't have that. And then when it finally came, it's just like, well, you have it now. Okay, cool. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is going to be crowd choice is going to be amazing. If you're a streamer, if you're a day-to-day just normal gamer who doesn't do anything, it's not going to do anything for you. It's if you're a streamer or if you're watching people stream. So yeah, with this thing on Twitch, I'm not sure if you can do it on the Stadia version. I would say you should be able to do it on the Stadia version if you're streaming to Twitch. I would say there should be a hookup onto it. So yeah, the Twitch, when you're hooking up to Twitch, it's actually more. There's so many extra layers to it, so it's definitely worth checking it out.
It certainly sounds to me like a job for Cloudy with a Chance of Games to do some research on.
It does indeed.
There's an article in there somewhere. I'm absolutely convinced of it. Maybe even a little video.
Yes. What I'll do is here, I'll just find you a quick one here to just to show on stream here. No, that one's not got it there. Let's see.
See, the bit that can't get my head around, Dunk, is that if I'm able to move my cursor, let me move my cursor here, over this screen, what you're saying is that if I place my cursor on this character, I get some data, then it needs to basically have me interacting with that game. That could be 4.5 million people interacting with an instance of a game. How the heck can it do that?
Give me a second. I'm just about to share my screen here so you can see it. Just give me 1 second.
Sounds like magic.
Sounds like magic.
Sounds like magic. Wow.
So,
I have to say the graphics on Andy are amazing. He looks real. Oh, he doesn't look like Andy anymore.
That doesn't look like Andy anymore. So here we go. I've got the Twitch app here. I think everybody knows about the crowd play. When there's a choice here, it actually comes up on the screen, blah, blah, blah. This is the bit here I'm talking about here. So there's to see the 4 characters there on the left-hand side here.
Yeah.
So you click into them, and there you go. You've got, you can find out what all the details.
Okay. So that's a little bit like in Division 2 where you can see the other player. Only in this case,
you're watching.
That is magical. And it's literally allowing you... So anybody in the chat can do that. They can click on one of those players and they can see their game stats, character information, the whole works.
Exactly. And then you've still got all the other stuff. It's done by a Twitch companion thing, okay. And they're going to be extending this as well. So yeah, the crowd choice features on Stadia are absolutely amazing there. But it's still slightly behind. And just remember, Twitch is doing this as well. This isn't bashing on Stadia here.
No.
This is just saying Stadia has got this. It's amazing. And
so this is a companion
app
that you have to install. So it's almost like I don't want to get too technical, but it's like a web overlay, presumably.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
And it pulls the stuff from the game, so you can just go into it and just click it. But this is what Stadia could be aiming for as well. So this is just absolutely mad. And again, this is why cloud gaming is going to be amazing going forward.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely. And the interaction, I mean, I this has blown my mind, I'll be honest with you. This is something else. And clearly, as has been said in the chat, this is still only early access. We know this is not the full game. We know that it comes with raggedy edges and stuff. Go on, Duncan, you were going to say something.
Oh, I was just kind of there's I don't think she's actually got the crowd choice set up for this, but you can still do the other stuff, which is mad.
So yeah, Eddie says this is something else. So yeah, as we've said, it's a sort of an it's you as a Twitch streamer have an extension loaded that allows you to do this kind of stuff. But you're saying this is the chat. This isn't the streamer. That is the streamer hooks it up, and it's an extension. Yeah, it's basically the Hyperscape stuff. The reason why this is cloud gaming in the future is because Twitch is implementing all this as well, because Twitch has already got in the what we call the crowd choice, or not crowd choice, crowd play, because that's in Twitch now as well. I'm not sure people know that's only in certain games. So this is all going to be all hooked up together, and you'll be Luna is going to be doing this where you can just join in and play this if it's supported. So it may not look like it's cloud gaming at this moment in time, but this is where it's going to all end up. This is all going to be interconnected, because people need to remember this is going to be Luna. You're watching Twitch. I mean, it's a cloud streaming service, is it not? I mean, it's a streaming service. Whether you want to, the cloud is a misnomer. It's the internet, right? So it's a streaming service, and you are accessing this functionality via that stream. Therefore, it is an aspect of cloud gaming in that respect, albeit not the game itself that you're watching. There is probably the PC version, but we know that. No, we don't know. I was about to say we know it's coming to Luna. We don't know that at all, do we? And in fact, we have no idea at all that it's coming to Luna.
No, that bit there is no. We don't know what games. It's whatever games support it, and we can speculate on that. But yes. Yeah, what you just need to say. This is the big picture. This is where everything is moving to. You're watching this, and you'll be able to jump in going forward, and it's likely Stadia is going to be doing something similar to that as well.
Oh, there we are. Good, thank you. Right, well, that was fascinating. That was a little rat hole, wasn't it? Very quickly, because we've missed the top of the hour, and I don't want you guys to miss whatever it is you had up. We've big new festival at Destiny 2. Excites me. I love the Festival of the Lost. It's Halloween in Destiny, basically. So there's running around in the Infinite Forest, one of my favourite things to do. So I know Raph struggles because he has so many commitments, but secretly he'd love to be in there running around in the Infinite Forest, wouldn't you, mate?
Most definitely, yeah. Do they still have the pumpkins on their heads? And stuff like
they have the pumpkins, they have the whole lot. You can jump up on the tree and pick up your candy. It's all there, mate. It's
so good,
lovely.
yeah.
It's lovely. It's all familiarity. You wear the stupid heads, all the various characters.
Oh, yeah, and then the big sort of,
the kind of paper hats, and you can go and print them off from Bungie.net and make your own and what have you. All the same. Absolutely stunning. Love it to pieces. And then I think we're almost there. Very quickly, I want to just cover that one in a second. We've got some Watch Dogs Legion post-launch content. Is that basically DLC that they're announcing, Duncan?
What was that? Sorry, I just missed that.
Watch Dogs Legion post-launch content.
Yeah, there's just a hell of a lot going on there. A couple of things stuck out to me was the Assassin's Creed. They're bringing Assassin's Creed formally into Watch Dogs, and as we've touched on earlier in the show, Watch Dogs, the complete edition, another game. So there's another game on the Stadia list. We know it's coming. But the banter between us, where we were both right, we were both saying...
So December the 3rd is when this. I mean, this is literally 5 days after the game launches, with an online mode, which I'm presuming will work in
1
some
month.
ways.
1 month.
That sounds awesome.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I skipped a whole of November there, didn't I? Beg your pardon. You're right. Yeah, 1 month. With an online mode, which I'm guessing will be what, like Red Dead Redemption and GTA kind of Rockstars type online mode.
Raph?
From what I read, it was you can meet up with three other players, so 4 people, and you can just do missions and stuff like that. So I I'm hoping it is like Grand Theft Auto Grand Theft Auto Online, where you can kind of meet up with all your friends. I know it's also going to be an open world, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
think I
See,
might
I
save,
was going to grab that on Uplay though. I mean, I adore Watch Dogs, and I'm still in two minds. Do I buy it or do I subscribe? There's so much great Ubisoft content coming up. I couldn't afford it all. I'm kind of thinking, you know what, just go with the old Uplay Plus.
You see those 4 bullet points there?
Yep.
The 4 top ones. They tell you everything that's in there.
So free roam open world co-op, where players can team up with their friends for up to 4-player co-op and explore the city of London. All right, mate. And participate in side activities. New co-op missions for 2 to 4 players using new co-op gameplay, mechanics, and giving players the opportunity to recruit the perfect team. 4-player co-op tactical ops missions, which will require teamwork and efficiency. The first available player versus player PvP mode, Spiderbot Arena, where 4 to 8 players control armed spider bots and compete in a high-intensity free-for-all deathmatch. This is amazing. This is basically Destiny Crucible and a whole bunch of that stuff, and just making it. Everyone's going for the Destiny model, aren't they? They're going for the throat of poor old Bungie. And this is a full-on open world, big as you like, play it forever. And why? And do you know why I think, Duncan? Let me just preempt you smiling there. Are you chuckling because you're going to say to me, well, what else do you think they're going to do if they're just getting a subscription out of you?
Exactly. We
See you with psychic, Raph.
Okay, I'll do this quickly here. That is where gaming is going. You may like it or you may not like it. Subscription, and that is going to be the way of things going forward. And I think even if you're a pure hard gamer and you want to buy every single game, the game prices now going up with this next generation. I think it is pushing everybody towards a subscription model. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think it's a mic drop moment. Do you know, I hadn't even thought about that before. You're absolutely right. You can see games are going to go to a point, and Destiny's already there, where there will not be a Destiny 3. They've kind of said that. They just keep adding more and more and more, and ultimately you'll keep paying your subscription. And what Destiny are doing is they're relying on other platforms to take that subscription and pay them to have their game on their platform. They've done it with Stadia for a year. They're now doing it with Xbox, of course. And they're selling their extensions. They'll do that as well. They'll sell their seasons, their extensions, their micropayments. But I can absolutely see that happening here, Duncan, with all the Ubisoft games, because all of them ultimately revolve around a universe, don't they? And you could see a Far Cry massive open world game with online stuff in Far Cry 6, set down there in South America. You could see it with Phoenix Rising. You know, that's just an ever-growing, massive kind of Greek odyssey, of all the old sort of Zeus-type stuff. So you could see all of this just expanding and expanding to keep you paying your $15 a month, essentially, which is where they'll get you forever and ever and ever. Amen. God, great. There you go. Wow. Mind blown. So, if you guys don't mind, we'll crack on very quickly. I'm going to take you to the last item here, which is just literally news today, which is that, of course, we've had mobile access now across all Android devices, albeit it's been in an experimental mode, and that has been lifted today. So we're no longer in Kansas, ladies and gentlemen. We're no longer in an experimental mode. They've now officially embraced the wonderful wide world of mobile, but we still are limited, I think, Duncan, to 720p.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. We'll just knock this out nice and quick here. Yeah, 720p, and it's no longer an experiment. They've caught up with xCloud now. When 5G drops, expect that to go up until when 5G gets a wider acceptance and more people have it, that's going to go up. So this is good news.
It's fantastic news. Right, let's wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. Raph, thank you very much once again, my friend, for your insights and wisdom. And where can people find you at any other time other than a Wednesday?
Twitter.
Exactly.
Underscore Raph gaming underscore right on the screen.
As it
Yeah.
says on the screen. Duncan, my friend, I'm assuming this one works for you.
What? Yes. Where? You don't scare me.
It's
Yes,
on the
that works.
screen. It's on the screen.
That works for me. And can I just ask everybody to go onto Twitter now and respond to Andy Morse's question with Farming Simulator, please? Because he wants to do streams, and I think that's the best one for him. And
We all love a bit of Farming Simulator.
just to confirm to Dylan in the chat there, 100% Watch Dogs 1 is coming to Stadia, 100%.
Yes, that's it. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time as always. I actually really enjoyed tonight. It was a great little run around the news. Have yourselves a wonderful week. Chat, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Enjoy yourselves. Have a great week. And we will catch up with you all this time next week. Rock out.